generator. Oh, hello there. Welcome back to another episode of Satisfactory. Today, to start off things, I'm going to go pick up some leaves because we've been having some fuel issues. So now, one thing that I didn't do, which I think I should have done, was to convert them into biomass. Turning them all into biomass like this, it's probably going to take quite a bit of time. I'm going to make an array of biomass generators and constructors. Alright, so we're back. I just built this little small array of constructors into biomass burners. So they're just converting some leaves into biomass, and they're feeding them into these biomass burners. Yeah, just so we have some extra power going forward. So I'm just going to turn this on now. Hopefully that gives us enough power at least for this episode. And speaking of this episode, we're going to be working through these tiers. I'm hoping to get to the end of tier 2 for this one, but we're going to have to see. And once we have this logistics tier thing set up, I think things are going to be quite a bit easier. And hoping to get the MAM as well. So yeah, so we're going to start out with the foundations. That's our first order of business. So let's see. We're going to get some concrete, some steel plates, not steel plates, iron plates, and some iron bars. This guy's already going, so we have 115 already on this one. And we have steel rods being produced in this one, and we're at 87. Now for concrete, I don't think I set up anything over there just yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that right away. Alright, so I just built a miner on this node, just connected it to power, and that's going to be producing limestone for me. This constructor is already configured to produce concrete, so that should be good. If I remember right, this is a poor quality node, so it's only producing 30 limestone per minute. Impure, I suppose is what it's called. So this is going to be bottlenecked by that guy, the miner over there. Just so that it's not going to be limited by its inventory space, I'm just going to output it to a storage container. I think I remember there being another limestone node over on this side. Yeah, it looks like there's one over there. So I think I'll set up another one just because I know that I'm going to be using a lot of concrete. And yeah, I'm just going to do that really quick. Alright, that's done. So we have another miner going into this constructor. Constructors are already configured. So this is also an impure node, so this is making it like a 30 per minute. Okay, so I got bored of waiting. I went and found another limestone node. This is not too far from the base. I think it's about 300 meters away. Okay, I don't know how much concrete we have in store right now, but this should help it along a little better. Oh, in fact, I did check the purity of this node. Let me just do that real quick. This is a pure node, and that's making 120. Whoa, what the heck? Okay, so this one, you won't be able to keep up. Probably need 3 constructors to utilize that output effectively. But yeah, before we have any splitters, I think that's the best we're gonna do. Okay, now we're back. I just went to pick up the produce from the other 2 concrete producing places I had, and looks like we have more than 200 already, so let's go ahead and turn these in and go. Now, okay, so now we have access to foundations. That's what these things are. So what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to tear out a lot of this stuff and I'm going to rebuild it on foundations, but let me just show how useful these things are. Okay, so let's just put one up so it's a little easier to see. If you're placing a machine, it's a little bit more snappy. See, there's this like a grid that you can snap the buildings onto here. If it's on ground like this, it's kind of a lot more fluid. With this thing, you can get things aligned a lot easier. Something I should mention. If you are looking at an object and you place mouse 3 or click mouse 3, your building tool will select it to build. Yeah, so if I hover over this foundation, I press mouse 3, I can build some more. Some other things that will be useful when you're building is build mode. So R, if you look in the middle of the screen, it says build mode default. If you press R, Zoop is a build mode that allows you to do something like that. It'll stretch out all the way to 10. What other build modes? Vertical. So instead of being able to build a Zoop horizontally, you can Zoop vertically. And default is just a default. So if I click here, it'll automatically place it. Let's undo that. And then if I have a Zoop, click once, and then I can move my mouse to where I want it to stretch to. And zooping, I guess it doesn't work vertically. That's why there's a vertical mode here. Other thing to note when building your foundations is that they snap. Sorry, they don't snap to anything if you're building them on the ground. If you hold left control, you enter snap mode, which will align it to a global grid. So let's just I'll just show you what that looks like here. So I built those foundations. So see, the problem here is that if I want them to align, if I just build it, it's going to be difficult for me to connect them. See, that doesn't quite connect very well. But if you have a foundation and you press left control, then this will align to a grid, and you should be able to attach the foundations along that grid. And if you're dismantling quite a few things, so that's the F key, dismantle, you can hold left control again and just hover your mouse over the things you want to dismantle. It should help dismantling go a lot smoother. Okay, but like I said, I'm going to tear out all of this stuff and get it replaced on foundations. Alright, so I rebuilt this area with foundations now. You can see that the miners are still in the same place. They're just on the foundations. Unfortunately, they don't line up perfectly with the global grid usually. So you kind of have to finagle a bend in your conveyor belts here. But I'm liking how this looks now because it's a little bit more organized, and we're still producing through one constructor each. So that one's still producing iron bars, that one's still producing iron plates. You'll see that I have a couple more smelters set up here. That's just planning for the future when I get access to splitters, since these produce 60 iron ore per minute, and these smelters have a capacity of 30 iron ore per minute. It's likely that I'll use a splitter to utilize more of that output from the mine. And I think next up I'm gonna throw some foundations over there, and yeah, probably also over there. Oh yeah, over on this side, I forgot to mention that I also put the biomass burners on foundations. Used to have those constructors feeding them biomass, but they're out of resources for now. But yeah. Okay, so as you can see, I tore out what we had over there, at the limestone mine over there, and it's outputting concrete to that storage container over there. The same thing over here. Oh, I forgot to hook that up to power, but it's going to be doing the same exact thing. The thing I like to do with these foundations is make sure that they're about the same height. It's useful for later on when you're going to have vehicles running, transporting resources. Yeah, so just keep that in mind. I think I have one more to do up there at the copper mine. So once again, I'll be right back. Okay, so it just took me a couple minutes here. Set up the miner again, into the smelter, into the constructor. Still making some wire, and once I get set up with the splitters, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna have to come back up here and add another smelter, maybe split off some wire to make some cables, but for now that's good. So I'm gonna go back to base now. Okay, so in building this region over here, I dismantled the hub, so I'm gonna need to rebuild that really quick. So let's do that. I'm just gonna build it right here. Probably gonna move it again, but for now, this is where it's gonna be. Okay, so we're looking at now the splitter and the merger, the lift, and I wonder what this does. I'm not really sure. Building efficiency stat. Does that make all of the buildings a little bit better with power-wise? Not sure. Anyhow, let's select this milestone. I might have everything I need already. Let's see. Yeah, so plenty of wires, plenty of rods. I'm low on the sheets, but I think that I should have enough. Yeah. Okay, so let's get that going. Okay, here we go. And we'll launch that. Alright. Okay, so I don't know if you noticed what I did just now, but you can see on my hotbar I have a bunch of building shortcuts. If you hover over a building here, you can just press the number on the key and it'll bind it to that hotbar key. I just put the splitter on 6 and the lift on 7. And there's a trick you can do, should save you some time. So there's splitters and mergers. The splitters will take a single conveyor belt and split the outputs. A merger will do the opposite, which is it'll take a few conveyor belts and merge them into an output. But there's a trick you can do to switch between them. So if you have a splitter on your hotbar and you press E, it'll change it to a merger. And I think this is new. I don't know when they put this update in, but this is new for me. If you hover over a conveyor belt, I believe it'll what is it? What's the wording? It'll place it on the conveyor belt and make the keep the connections between them. It used to be a little bit more tedious before, but I think this should work. So yeah, so you don't have to make the connections, I think. Yeah. So since this is making 60 iron ore per minute, I can use a second smelter to make use of the other 30, because this has a 30 per minute limit. So this will be 100% efficient now. so that's going to be 30 per minute that way. And because of that, now I'm making a lot of iron rods. Okay, I do have enough for another constructor, so I'm just gonna line them up like this. And feed this out. And you're set up, right? Yep, you're giving me ingots. You're not set up. I'm gonna want some iron rods. And now I need more space, I think. So let me just extend this foundation. I'm gonna move this. So that is a storage container. I'm going to move it up a little bit just so it's easier for me to work with. And I'm just going to make this a single line. And then now I'm going to use the merger. So this is a splitter. I press E, and that's a merger. And I can just put it here. And then I can just feed this into it. But it doesn't... It's not too snappy, actually. I guess it's ever so slightly off. That's not enough, not off enough to bother me, but I guess that's the weird thing about using that. Actually, let me do a little test here. Oh, interesting. Okay, so let's say I did that again, and if I saw that I can... Okay, so maybe not. I wanted to see if I could snap it, but it looks to be fluid on the conveyor belt itself. So it's anchored onto the conveyor belt and not onto the foundation. But is there anything I can do to make it? No, I guess I'm just gonna have to be very careful if I want to have it precisely lined. Okay, well, that's alright. But yeah, so that's not configured. Oh, it just doesn't have power. So it's connected to this guy, and that should be improving our productivity. So now that I have splitters and mergers, I'm going to be doing the same thing with my smelter over there, and also the smelter up in the copper node as well. Okay, so we're back. I just finished hooking up a second smelter and another constructor to the copper area, and I just ran into another power shutdown. As you can see, max consumption is 82, and the production, I don't remember. Looks like it's capped out at, well, let's check. Let's just check. Yeah. So they're producing 30 megawatts now. That's up from last time. I think it was 20 last time. So I'll just make sure that these are all loaded. Okay, that doesn't have... so we're low on biomass here. So I'm going to tear this out again. And I'm going to use splitters to evenly distribute these. Probably add another biofuel generator while I'm at it. Okay, so little time has passed here. I rebuilt my biomass generator array. I added another one over there. I had to do some finagling with the power cables here because this one was full, so I had to split it off. But we have now... Oh, by the way, I also ran around collecting some leaves and wood. I have two constructors here. One of them is producing biomass from wood, another one is producing biomass from leaves, so they're being fed from these two storage containers. And they have a merger that's bringing both of the outputs together into this storage container, and it looks like I haven't connected this one up. So that storage container is going to feed this splitter. And that actually should be connected like this, so that they can damn it. Connecting like that. That's weird. But yeah, so that splitter is feeding into these splitters, and that's feeding those two. The reason why I wanted to do it this way instead of a long line of just a single line of conveyor belts is so that they get fed evenly. Yeah, so that is that. Hopefully that's enough biofuel for me for the rest of the episode. But I guess we'll have to see to find out. So let's take this lookout tower out and see what's going on here. Okay, next thing on tier 1 is this field research stuff. It looks like I'm going to need quite a few screws for this one. So let's go ahead and select that milestone. Now screws are made from... Oh, by the way, I disconnected the power just so that I can get these generators fed. Right, so we need to make screws, and what I think I'm going to do is, instead of feeding both of these into this container over here, I'm going to split off this output to just make screws. Yeah, so in time I'm going to be accumulating quite enough screws, and I'm sure later on I'm going to need to do the same thing for this copper node. It's only producing wire, and I need to produce cable as well. So I'm going to go over there and fix that up too. And we're done. So this cable machine is just getting fed through a splitter. Now I kind of just want to kill time until the nails are done. Excuse me, the screws. Okay, now we're back. I decided to just help the constructor along that's making screws, so now we have enough to turn this stuff in. So let's go ahead and do that. Alrighty, so we unlock the MAM. Let's get that built really quickly. Gonna need a couple more of these. Alright, so here's the MAM. Right there. Okay, so this should help us unlock some useful things here. Technologies. For one, the megafauna, which are just like the animals that live around here. You can see that the hog remains are what I got from killing those hogs. So what I can do here is just select that research. It says I need at least one. And I can just let that start and give it some time. So now what I can do, looks like I can make now this thing. And I need 5 of these proteins. Since I only have 3 hog remains, I'm not going to be able to do that just yet. But I think that I can do something with these as well. So I can turn this in. Okay, so that's still locked.
This fruit, dubbed the barrel nut after its distinctive color, is compatible with the human digestive system and has been added to the object scanner. Further research is available.
Okay. So let me just build an equipment workshop as well, because I think I unlocked a piece of equipment. Right, so this thing. Let's make that real quick. Okay. So I think I put this in my hand, and if I remember right, I can find, I can locate things. So I'm using the right mouse button to change what I can locate. So if you just follow the signal, you can see a little progress bar over here. I think it'll find the nearest one to you. Yeah, so let's see. If we go this way. Right here. So this is how you find things using this object locator, something like that. Alright, so next up on our agenda, tier 1's all done. That's nice. Now we can do tier 2 stuff. So this is where things start to get a little bit more difficult in terms of managing your factories, because you'll start to get access to assemblers which can craft 2 items into 1. So you might have noticed before that these reinforced iron plates require 2 resources to make, whereas the plate, rod, and screws, they all just needed 1. So they're all constructible with the constructor, but these aren't automatable. But now we can. So, or not yet anyway. We'll need to unlock the assembler to do that. So we're gonna get going with that. I think I automated all of those already. Cables are being made, rods and the screws are also being made. So I think this is gonna just take a little bit of time, and we should see that soon enough. Okay, so I made a little change to our system here. I realized the iron rod production here wasn't being utilized effectively. I just have to connect this smelter to this constructor, but what I did instead was I'm feeding the other output from the iron node into that smelter. The smelter is now feeding these 2 constructors, and they're making iron rods, and that's being distributed into these screw machines. Okay, but some time has passed, and now we have everything we need for this upgrade. So I'm just going to turn that in now. Beautiful. So now we have the assembler available. It's going to open up quite a few more automation things we'll have to do. Okay, one other thing, now that we have the MAM unlocked, I'm gonna pick up these blue power slugs, and I'll show you what they're for in a little bit. Yoink. Okay, so we're back at the MAM. Here you gotta turn one in, and 3 seconds will pass, and... Okay, so from these slugs you can make power shards, and power shards are used to power machines. Let's see if I can actually pull one in here. Not quite. So this little UI will open up later on, but for now, not quite. In fact, I think we have to use this to enable overclocking. Okay.
Overclocking development completed. Power shards can now be inserted into all buildings to increase input and output speed. Underclocking is also possible. Note: power consumption of overclocked buildings increases exponentially.
Right, so once again, these are from the power slugs. You can put them in these slots, and you can overclock them. You can see instead of 15 per minute, it's producing 22. And for now, I don't really need to do that, so I'm just going to take that one back. So it's back at 15 per minute. Okay, so let's turn this in. Screws, cables, and concrete. So I'm going to make that chainsaw real quick. Okay, chainsaw acquired. Let's equip that. I think that I need some solid biofuel to get it running. I think it might run on biomass as well, but solid biofuel is much more efficient, I think. Alright, so we got we got some biofuel now. So let's see. So let's take a look at these trees. So I can collect leaves just fine. But you see this tree, I can't press E to collect it. What I'll need to do is use this chainsaw to get the wood. Alright. So from here, gave me 10 wood and 31 leaves. 12 wood, 32 leaves, and so on and so forth. So that's good. I'm just gonna go around and grab a couple more trees. Alright, so I'm back from clearing out a bunch of trees and foliage. We got quite a bit of wood and leaves from that. I also made a couple changes over here. Okay, so biomass is going into this constructor. This is a new thing. The constructor here is making solid biofuel, and that's going into our biofuel generators over here. So I'm assuming that they're going to be... It's a lot more efficient than the biomass that's currently in there. So hopefully that works out just fine. And let's take a look at our next milestone. Okay, so it looks like our next milestone is jump pads. So these are fun because they let you move around a lot faster. But it looks like it's going to require some rotors. And I don't have anything set up to make rotors just yet. So I'm going to have to do that. Okay, so did a bit of building here. This whole setup is making rotors. So I just connected it to power. That's definitely going to kill my power production here, because I think my capacity is only 120. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kill this first so I can get some more productivity going. I'm going to have to expand my power generation before I connect it up. Okay, so I did a bit of expanding here. I had to move the biofuel generators a space back because I needed another row of splitters. But this way I'll be able to run 8 of them at a time. We'll have to see what our consumption looks like after all of this. Oh, you can see this not connected. Yeah, so the power shut off because I had to temporarily disconnect everything. But let's take a look at our consumption and production here. Oh, whoops. Oh, right, I haven't hooked these up. Sorry, give me 1 second. Okay, so I think they're all connected now. Let's take a look. Okay, so on this graph, our capacity is 240. Our max consumption is 126. So that should keep us going for quite a while. Now that our power is all good, we're going to go ahead and connect our rotor factory. Okay, so we're back at the rotor factory. That's that big building over there in the distance. This power line connects to it. So let's just connect that over here. Consumption. Okay, so now our max consumption, it would jump from 126 to 187. Okay, small little tour of this factory over here. So that's where our iron ore is coming in. Got a couple smelters right there. Their output is getting merged and coming up over here. That's being distributed into 4 constructors that are each making iron rods. Iron rods are going up a floor, so let's go up a floor. They're going up, coming out onto this line over here. And we're splitting some of that off in this direction to be fed into the assembler over there. The other rods are being split into 3 constructors, which each have screws being made in it. As you can see over here, that's the limit for that. The iron rod is 20 per minute, so this is way too much, but it's going to stop by itself anyway. The final product is rotors. Rotors are coming down over here and being sent to a storage container over there. Yeah, and hopefully it doesn't take too much time to get to 50 rotors for the jump pads. Okay, we're back. I did some crafting to get to this point a little bit faster. So I'm gonna just turn in the rotors, the plates, and the cables. That's the jump pads. Okay, so next up we have the resource sync bonus program. It looks like these are just basic materials, so we'll probably have everything we need. So let's take a look at Logistics Mark II. Aha, so this one requires reinforced iron plates. I don't have anything set up for that, but we can just get that done pretty easily, I think. So let's go ahead and select that milestone. Whoa, that's cool. Alright, we're back. We're here near the copper mine area. I found out that there's a couple more iron nodes over there. You can see the 2 miners that I have already on top of it. And I'm just using this area to make the reinforced iron plates. So let's take a look at this monstrosity of a factory over here. Once again, these are both impure iron nodes, so we're only getting 30 iron ore per minute, so 1 smelter each is enough to keep up with that. The iron ingots are being sent up using that. What are they called? They are called conveyor lifts. Conveyor lifts are bringing them up here. They're being split into a constructor that's making iron rods and 2 constructors that are making iron plates. Both of them are going into these storage containers because once things start to fill up, it'll be nice to have extra rods and extra plates. Those are coming up here, the rods, and being made into screws now. Those screws and the iron plates are going into this assembler. Assembler's making reinforced iron plates. So yeah, that's the factory over here. So once the reinforced iron plates are done, the assembler will send it down this conveyor lift, and they'll collect over here. But once again, this is a very slow process. Even at maximum speed, it's making 5 per minute. So I'm gonna have to speed it up. Okay, so after a little bit of crafting, I'm back. I think we can just turn everything in here now. So let's do that. Okay, Logistics Mark II ready for launch. Let's go. Okay, so that unlocked faster conveyor belts, Mark IIs. So each of the Mark 1s can transport 60 resources per minute. The Mark IIs can do 120. So what I'm going to do is head over to the place where we're making the rotors and upgrade a couple of those belts to Mark II so that it's more efficient. Alright, so we're back at the rotor assembler. You can see there's a little bit of dead time before the next rotor is being produced because it needs 100 screws per minute, but this is only providing 60. So what you can do here is select the conveyor belt Mark 1, and if you press E, it'll cycle through the different levels of conveyor belt you can make. So right now we have Mark IIs. Let's do that again. So I'm going to mouse 3, conveyor belt selected, and if I hit E as an echo, I can replace those. And now, since this is being fed 40 and this is 60 in total because of the 60 limit over there, this is now providing 100 screws per minute, so we shouldn't see any more dead time. Should happen. Yep, 20. It's at 50, so in fact it's more than 100 per minute. It's like, so that's nice. It's gonna produce rotors just that little bit faster now. Okay, our little cargo pod flying machine thingy's back, so let's go ahead and turn in these guys. Yep. Oh, there we go. So that's the last of our tier 2.
Milestone reached. You have been given access to the anti-waste effort for stress testing of materials on Exoplanet's bonus program, also known as AWESOME. Your awesome input allows Fixit to comprehend our amazing universe more clearly. In appreciation of this, we have generously set up an internal, closed economy with exclusive rewards and currency. Directing parts of varying quantity and complexity into the awesome resource sink will grant Fixit coupons. These coupons can be redeemed in the awesome shop for highly desirable items such as new foundations, walls, factory attachments, cosmetics, parts, and more. Next time you have additional resources, just remember to go that extra kilometer. Go awesome.
Okay, so that's the end of our tier 2 milestones. And I think it's about as good a time as any to end the episode here. So next time we're going to check out the awesome shop and the jump pads and probably get into building the space elevator. I think this thing's quite expensive, but I think we might already have the resources to build this thing. Yeah, but let's just hold that off for the next episode. But till then, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.